Today, we're talking about something called the case study method. It's this really powerful way of learning that's all about closing that huge gap between what you learn in a classroom and, well, the real world. Let's get right into it.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're sitting in class, staring at some super complex theory on a page, and just thinking, how is this ever going to help me in my actual life? It's such a common feeling. But what if there was a way of teaching that was built from the ground up to solve that exact problem?
Okay, so this really gets to the heart of it. On one side, you've got your traditional learning, where you're basically just a spectator listening to a lecture. But the case study method, it totally flips that. You go from just passively listening to actively doing. You're moving from abstract ideas to real concrete problems. And you stop just memorizing stuff and start actually applying it.
So, how does it pull this off? Well, we're going to break it down into 4 parts. We'll look at how it gets you thinking like a pro, then how it helps you work with people. After that, we'll see how it gets you ready for the future, and finally, we'll put it all together to see what we're calling the complete skill set. All right, let's kick things off with our first section, thinking like a pro. This is all about that huge leap you take from just knowing stuff to actually being able to analyze it, think critically, and tackle really tough problems. So the first huge win here is that it makes abstract ideas real. It takes those big, complicated theories out of the textbook and slams them right into a real-world problem. It's kind of like the difference between just reading about gravity and actually dropping an apple to see it happen.
And this is a perfect example. Just imagine you're a business student. Yeah, you've read all the chapters on leadership theory, great. But then you get handed a case study about a real company that's having a massive employee morale crisis. All of a sudden, you're not just reading words on a page anymore. You're using those theories to solve a real problem. And believe me, that's when the knowledge actually sticks.
But it's not just about applying what you know. It goes way deeper. See, case studies are meant to be messy. They're complicated, just like real life. There's almost never a single easy answer, which forces you to dig in, think hard, and make a call, even when things are ambiguous.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. You're not looking for that one magic answer in the back of the book. You're training your brain to cut through all the noise, figure out what's actually important, and then weigh the pros and cons of every possible move. I mean, that's literally the skill set you need in just about any job, right?
Okay, so thinking like a pro is huge, but let's be real, that's only half the battle. You almost never solve big problems all by yourself. And that brings us to our next section, working with people. We're going to see how case studies help you build those crucial communication and, importantly, ethical skills. You're not doing these case studies alone in a corner. Nope. They're meant to be debated, pulled apart, and put back together in groups. The classroom basically becomes this amazing training ground for how to talk and work with people professionally. And it's not just random talking either. There's a whole cycle to it. First, you analyze the dilemma. Then you start debating all the different perspectives. You have to learn how to actually defend your own arguments with real evidence. And finally, you all work together to try and build some kind of consensus. It's like a gym for your persuasion, negotiation, and teamwork skills.
And a lot of the time, this teamwork means you're dealing with really tough human dilemmas. Case studies make you put yourself in someone else's shoes. You have to grapple with choices that have serious ethical weight, and usually there's no easy right or wrong answer.
I mean, look at these examples. In a medical case, you might be stuck between what the patient wants and what the doctor thinks is necessary. Or in a law case, you could be weighing strict legal rules against what just feels like the right thing to do. By working through these, you're basically building up your ethical muscles, getting you ready to make tough, principled decisions out in the real world.
All right, so you've got the brain power to analyze a problem and the people skills to work on a solution. Great, but what about when the world keeps changing around you? How do you stay ready? That's exactly what our third section is about, ready for the future.
Let's face it, the world today is incredibly complex and interconnected. The problems you're going to face in your career won't be neatly tucked into one little box or one culture. And that's where case studies come in. They prepare you by throwing a huge variety of different situations your way. This variety is absolutely key. Seriously, one week you could be working on a marketing challenge in Brazil. The next, a supply chain nightmare in Japan. By constantly jumping between different industries, different cultures, and all sorts of global problems, you become so much more adaptable. It just broadens your entire way of thinking. And this next one might just be the most important benefit of all. This whole method fundamentally changes how you think about learning. You stop being a passive sponge just soaking up information, and you become an active investigator. Just look at the difference here. It's a total mindset shift. You go from just absorbing facts and waiting for the answer key to questioning information, actively seeking solutions, and even creating new ways forward. It lights this fire of curiosity that honestly is meant to stick with you for your entire life. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. What does the final picture look like when you combine all these benefits? Let's talk about the complete skill set you walk away with. Here they are, the 6 big pillars. It bridges theory and practice, it sharpens critical thinking, it enhances communication, it fosters ethical awareness, it builds adaptability, and it encourages lifelong learning. See, it's not just about learning one thing, it's about building a complete, well-rounded toolkit for your professional life. When you boil it all down, the case study method isn't just another teaching trick. It's a whole different philosophy of what education should be. It's active, it's dynamic, and it's not just about getting you ready for a test, it's about preparing you for the real, messy, unpredictable world out there. And so, that leaves us with one last pretty big question. If this is how we really learn to solve the world's actual problems, then why isn't it how we always learn? Something to chew on.